Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I'm going to be doing a complete review of this new 2026 Genesis GV70. It belongs to a dear friend of mine that just took delivery of it very recently, and they were kind enough to let me do this review. So what I'm going to do is just kind of turn the camera around, walk around, show you the highlights of the vehicle, exterior, interior. Then we're going to go for a little drive. I'm going to give you a driving impression, and then we'll wrap up the video and go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to just change the camera angle and we'll get started. Okay guys, so this is a 2026 Genesis GV70. It has the 3.5 liter twin turbo engine with 375 horsepower, 391 pound-feet of torque. It comes standard with these graphite wheels, which are 21-inch in diameter, wearing 255 tires. Has 4-piston calipers in the front, so the braking is pretty impressive. It has an adaptive suspension. We're gonna kind of come around here. You can see that these Genesis models really have taken cues from a lot of different European car companies, such as Mercedes and BMW, to try to capture the essence of what a nice crossover should look like. And this particular vehicle has kind of hit the nail right on the head. As you can see here, it's got nice dual exhaust. This one is all-wheel drive, of course. Now we'll come over to the passenger side. You can kind of see how back windows are tinted to some degree, but beyond that, what I really love is the color here. It's kind of like a hybrid color of a blue, gray, metallic. And depending on how the sun hits it, we're gonna try to stop somewhere, see if I can get some sun pictures of it as well, so you guys can see that a little bit better. But now, I'm actually gonna come back around. We're gonna get a quick couple shots of the interior. And now you can see here, this happens to have the orange seat belts that match the stitching and the piping on the leather seats, which are fully automated, driver and passenger. They are heated and ventilated. You have a flat bottom steering wheel. Here are all your controls. It has dual screens, which measure, you have your 12-inch screen here and 15-inch screen over here on this side, which is huge. You have carbon fiber inlay on both the center console and the door paneling. It has a pretty impressive touch screen, which I'll showcase that in a minute once I turn the vehicle on. And then we're gonna go for a drive and see what you guys think of the drive. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go to that point. All right, I have situated the camera to give us two different views, both of me and the vehicle and the front as I'm driving. So like I mentioned, I'm gonna put this vehicle in, take the brake off, put it in drive. It has a knob similar to what most vehicles have now for the drive modes. And right now it's on just regular drive. I'm gonna see what other modes are available here. So there's Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus. I'll probably stick to Sport. Let's see how that drives. Now this vehicle also happens to have a head-up display, which I'm looking at right now. And we're just gonna kind of take it around here and go for a little drive, see how it handles. So far, my first impressions of sitting in this vehicle are that the seats are very supportive, very supple. This new car smell, you can't beat it. You know, the leather So nice. The steering wheel feels good in your hands. It's nice size. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm just going an average speed of about 30 miles an hour. It seems like it drives exceptionally well. Okay, so it does take the bumps really well. Now let's put it in a corner here and see how it handles that without slowing down. Let's see how it does. All right, very nice. Very nice. Okay. So I'm just going to take it along here. Next thing I'm going to notice here is that it's really quiet here in the cabin. Now, of course, I have the radio off, for the purposes of making this video, but I have noticed that there's really little road noise or wind noise. And that's interesting because I just purchased a brand new Corvette E-Ray, which I love that car to death, but it definitely gets a lot more noise because the engine's behind you and there's only a glass partition between you and the engine, and so a lot of noise makes its way through, not just from the engine, but from just outside noise. It's actually reminiscent of how loud my Bronco was before I put the foam up on the top. But this car is really quiet, very quiet. I mean, you could just listen to silence as you're driving. It's so quiet. I am impressed so far with the ride quality. It isn't too harsh. It's supportive, and it is not causing any issues with any of the undulations in the road, or not really upsetting the car's front end or the steering inputs. Now, it seems like it's got really good, I would say, on-center feel for the steering wheel is pretty good, considering this is a heavily assisted steering, which is an electronic steering, or electronic power steering, I should say. Like most cars, it does have drive-by-wire, but that doesn't seem to be very laggy. Now, granted, I am in sport mode, so as we come around the bend, I'm going to see how this car accelerates, and of course, I'm going to be testing the braking right after that acceleration run, so that you can really kind of get an impression as to how this thing performs. Now, I'm also really impressed with the quality of the interior. There seems to be a nice suede on the roof, and everywhere that you touch is soft, very supple, nice pointed leather. The surface up here is hard on the dash, and up here it's hard, but otherwise it's very nice, very well equipped. Now, we're approaching this turn where I'm gonna give the car just a little bit more gas and see how it accelerates and then how it brakes, and we'll go from there. Oh, this is interesting. The head-up display also sees the stop signs and lets you know when to stop. Huh. Okay. Well, here we go. So let's get going straight here. Okay. So just light throttle's pretty good, but I'm gonna see what it does when I give it just a full throttle pull, just for a brief moment here. Okay. Very nice. I don't know if you guys heard that on the camera, but it actually has a fairly throaty sound for that twin-turbo V6. Like I said, it makes 375 horsepower, 391 pound-feet of torque. It doesn't get the best mileage. Around town's about 18 miles per gallon, but that's still pretty impressive for this day and age and how heavy vehicles are, how many computers they have, and the fact that this can still seat 5 comfortably. And on the highway, it'll do 25, so that's not bad. So for road trips, I imagine this would be a very comfortable vehicle. Now, as I'm approaching here, this stop coming up, I'm going to kind of give it a little bit harder braking just to see how it handles that. And then I'll be able to tell you guys what that feels like. But the visibility is quite nice. There aren't any blind spots that I'm really too concerned about. Now I'm going to hit the brakes a little bit hard here. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, so the brakes are very well balanced. Seems like the brake distribution split front to back is as it should be. No issues there. Yeah, the engine definitely has a little bit of a throaty sound, which is nice when you're accelerating. This is quite nice. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is stop here in the sunlight and see if I can't get a better look at the exterior paint color. There's just a little pull off up here on the road, a little dirt patch pull off I'm gonna pull onto, and we'll kind of just have a quick peek at the, I'm gonna take the camera out for just a second. And all right, let's put this thing in park and see how this thing looks. All right, so I'm gonna just leave it running. I'm just gonna grab the camera. And let's see how this thing looks in the sun. Okay guys, so you can see there's a little bit of my shadow there, but you guys can see here. I'm gonna try to bring the camera up nice and close so you can kind of see the metallic flake in here. This is a really gorgeous color. Gorgeous color. And the wheels really do pop. Even with those stripes on there, they look really good. All right, let's get back in the car and finish the drive. Okay. All right, here we go. Like most modern cars, has auto lock, which is nice. Okay. It looks like it has auto stop start as well. Now that's the one thing I don't like is auto stop start, but I can see why they install it on most modern cars, just to try to save a little bit of fuel and reduce emissions just a little bit. My big hang up with auto stop start is that you're turning on your car so often that you're going to wear out your starter a lot faster, which I'm not really fond of that. But my routine when I get in any of my cars is just to shut that auto stop start off every single time. All right, so I really like this. In the head-up display, it also gives you what the speed limit of the road that you're traveling on happens to be, which is really cool. I'm sure that's being brought in by satellite feed. That's nice. Okay, so my impressions are that this car rides great, has excellent brakes, very adequate comfort, and of course, really well performing from a performance and acceleration standpoint. Pull back in here, and I'm going to show just one more thing. I'm going to turn the camera around, show one more thing, and then just to kind of go over. All right. So as you guys can see here, I'm going to pan from right to left. You guys can see how large this center screen is. It's enormous. It's almost like it's one continuous screen. There's just a little break right here. Right here. But it looks like it's basically just one continuous screen all the way across. Pretty cool, pretty amazing. Here are all your climate controls. And what I like about this is that it's got a very nice single bar across the middle console here that you can angle your air conditioning and whatnot. Okay, so I'm gonna go back outside the car All right, guys, so that concludes the drive and the review of this Hyundai Genesis, or rather just Genesis GV70, which of course we all know Genesis is an offshoot luxury brand of Hyundai, but it's a Genesis GV70 nonetheless. And hopefully you guys could kind of see how this thing looks, drives. It does handle exceptionally well, has great ride, great support, good acceleration, good braking. It has every amenity that you could imagine. And as I mentioned, it does 18 in the highway, 25, or rather 18 in the city, 25 in the highway. And last but not least, this vehicle, the way that it's outfitted right now, I believe this is the all-wheel drive Prestige 3.5 liter twin turbo model, which is the highest upper echelon model. And I believe this one with all the amenities is probably a little over $80,000, which is pretty heavy, steep price. But actually these start with a 2.5 liter, same appearance, slightly smaller wheels, a little bit less power, but they start at about 50,000, so that's not too bad. But otherwise, it's a great car, and I highly recommend this Genesis GV70 for anybody who has either a smaller family or trying to downsize. It's a great sport SUV. It has great visibility, great performance, and so that pretty much does it for this review. If you guys like this review, please give it a thumbs up. Until next time, this is Motors and Medicine signing off. Have yourself a great rest of the day.